This is Finn's News Network, where we get facts, not nonsense. Okay, so welcome back. It's been a little while, but we are here, and Election Day 2025 is only 8 days away. And we're going to start with our first of multiple previews with the Virginia governor's race. Now, this is always a hotly contested one, a very good indicator of how strong the party in the White House is. Fresh out, 1 year in, this is our first real benchmark check. Democrats knew something was wrong 4 years ago when Glenn Youngkin pulled off a shock upset and gave the Republicans a big win in the state they don't usually win in. And this year, it's between Democratic House Representative Abagail Spanberger and Republican Lieutenant Governor, which is basically the backup to the governor, Winsome Earle-Sears, both of whom are women, one of which will become Virginia's first female governor this year. So we're going to start off with our first of two candidate profiles, and the first one is going to be Democrat Abagail Spanberger. Now, she is 48 years old, and she was a three-term Democratic representative for Virginia's 7th District. Now, prior to becoming a representative, she worked as a teacher, and she was in the CIA for 8 years. She's part of the so-called Mod Squad, which was her, Elaine Luria, and Mikey Sherrill, and now Senator Alyssa Slotkin. Mikey Sherrill's running for New Jersey governor. That was kind of a moderate response to that squad built up by Ayanna Pressley and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and all the super progressives describe themselves as reasonable moderates. She flipped a House seat that hadn't been flipped since the 1980s by a pretty considerable margin. Trump did win her district all the way back in 2016, right before she was elected in 2018 as part of that blue wave. She describes herself as a moderate Democrat in general. Her voting record was in line with Joe Biden's agenda. She has shown tendencies to break from the party. She did it by voting to end the national COVID-19 emergency. She voted against Nancy Pelosi for House Speaker in 2019. She voted for Illinois Representative Sherry Bustos. But she, in the terms of Democrats, I think that she's a candidate that they would like, and you'll see why later. On the Republican side, it is Winsome Earle-Sears. Now, she is the current Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. She was elected by a very narrow margin, about half a percentage point back in 2021 alongside Glenn Youngkin. Although in Virginia, they elect independently. The governor and the lieutenant governor are not on the same ticket, not like the president and the vice president separately. She was in the Marine Corps for 3 years, so both of them devoting public service to America. She was only a one-term state rep, not a very experienced politician before she won that lieutenant governor role. She has very conservative views, although she's even gone farther right from the party in the past. On LGBTQ rights is a example. She is very against what she calls gender ideology. But I think one of the things that is key for Republicans, how do they get along with Trump in this day and age? She was very supportive of him openly. In 2022, she claimed the Republican Party as a group needed to move on from him. She thought they were going to hurt him. He was going to hurt them in the midterms. He has seemed to throw his support behind Earle-Sears. He's attacked Spanberger. He has not openly made really any comments on Earle-Sears, but he has attacked Abagail Spanberger quite harshly. I think that he knows that if he has a friend right next to him in Virginia, right next to D.C., that'll be good for him. But nothing official has come out of him yet. Now, polling, this is where we kind of get our stuff. Although it is important to note that Terry McAuliffe was leading in the polls 8 days out in the election. He was up 3 points in the polls 8 days out. Glenn Youngkin came all the way back. Actually, he was about 8 points down 2 months to go before the election, and he won as a Republican. But Abagail Spanberger has led in every major poll all throughout this election. Her average is currently around a lead of 6, 7, 8 points, kind of in that area. But you see, it is all blue, no red. Her narrowest lead was by Trafalgar Group, which is a Republican pollster of +2. But the Washington Post, which is a reliable pollster, she's up 12. She's up 9 from Suffolk. She's up 7 in that VCU poll. It's always an early measure of White House strength. Now, Glenn Youngkin did come back and pull off an upset, but right now, at least in the polls, Spanberger is looking confident. And from that polling data, that is why I am fully projecting that Abagail Spanberger is going to win this election, and by a considerable margin. I'd go in that 8 to 10 point range. I have a source on Capitol Hill that told me that there's a very anti-GOP mood in Virginia right now. Now, Kamala did only win the state by 6, but Biden won it by 10. Hillary carried it even when she got killed. So I think that it is important to note that it is a pretty reliably Democratic state, even though Youngkin, who did shock against a former governor, Terry McAuliffe, and come all the way back. Now, the one other thing to note is the Attorney General scandal with the texts that Jay Jones sent about the former House Speaker in Virginia. He has lost a lot of ground to incumbent Jason Miyares, and he is seen as down, unsurprisingly, in the polls after the comments that he made, which are quite disparaging. But I think this is not affecting Spanberger as a person. I think this is really affecting him. I think Abagail Spanberger's got this in the bag. Now, you could have said the same thing about McAuliffe 4 years ago, so, who knows, but I'm liking her to take this about 54 to 45. I've got her by 9 points right now. It could shift a little bit, but I feel confident that Abagail Spanberger will become the next Virginia governor come January of next year. This has been FNN News Network, where we give facts, not nonsense. Thank you for watching.